Hey everyone, welcome back to On Purpose, the number one health podcast in the world. Thanks to each and every one of you that choose to listen, learn, and grow with us every single week. And you know that it's my intention to help connect you with thinkers, teachers, and guides that can help us learn to love ourselves a little more, that can help us learn to understand ourselves a bit more and navigate the challenges that come with the mind, our thoughts, our hearts, and emotions. Now, today's guest is extremely trusted, extremely an incredible thought leader in this space for countless years. And I feel so deeply grateful to have her on the podcast. Now, today's guest is none other than Byron Katie. And in 1986, at the bottom of a 10-year spiral into depression, rage, and self-loathing, Byron Katie woke up one morning to a state of constant joy that has never left. She realized that when she believed her thoughts, she suffered. But when she questioned them, she didn't suffer. And that is true for every human being. And you know how much I love questions and answers, so I can't wait to ask her. Now, since then, she has offered her profound and powerful process of inquiry called The Work to millions of people at free public events, in prisons, hospitals, churches, treatment centers, corporations, universities, and schools. As she guides people through the work, they find that their stressful beliefs about life, other people, or themselves start to shift. Through this process, Katie gives people the tool to set themselves free. Now, Byron Katie has written 4 major books, the best-selling Loving What Is, and I'm grateful to have 2 of them with me right now, so you can see them here. And of course, I Need Your Love, Is That True? 1,000 Names for Joy, and A Mind at Home with Itself, and 1,000 Names for Joy. And we'll be putting the links to these books in the comments as well. So please welcome to the show with an open, grateful, and deeply appreciative heart, Byron Katie. Katie, thank you for doing this. I'm so happy to have you on the show.
Oh, Jay, my goodness, it's my privilege for sure.
It's such a joy to sit with someone. And just for all of you who don't know, Katie and I were just exchanging some energy and some words before we started recording officially. And there's these moments that when you're present with someone, you feel this energy and aura and this immense joy and beauty that comes from them. And Katie, the way you just started this conversation, I felt it from the moment I joined the Zoom call. I can't imagine what I would have felt like if you were in the room with me right now. So I just wanted to thank you for making me feel so much joy just through your presence.
Well, I'm so grateful that you're in the world, Jay. It's not surprising that you felt that. I'm grateful you're in the world.
Amazing. Well, I want to start by talking about your journey, which I know you've spoken about many times, but I'd love my audience to really connect with your background, because I think that when we hear or see people who are incredible authors, incredible thinkers, incredible teachers, it's hard to realize that at some point they too had struggles or that they have struggles at all. And I think often people see guests on our podcast and think, oh, well, they have perfect lives and things are incredible and they've never experienced this. And that's what I want to start with. When you said that you were depressed for over a decade, and I want to start by asking you, how would you describe that chapter of your life, of what it felt like and how different it is to how you feel now?
Oh gosh, it was horrible. It is something that I would never want another human being to have to live through. And in my world, people are experiencing that. You know, their emails that come into me, and I love my emails that, you know, there is a way out of suffering, but I didn't know that. And to wake up in the morning, Jay, and realize that I was still breathing felt like something was intentionally torturing me. And I was so suicidal and agoraphobic, so just trapped most of the time in my bedroom, and it was not fun. Let's see, describe it to you. My self-esteem and self-loathing was so strong that I was sleeping on the floor one morning, as I usually did, and next to my bed, because I was so full of self-loathing that I didn't believe I deserved a bed. That's the bottom line. So all I deserved was a sleep on the floor. But this particular morning, as I lay sleeping on the floor, I was in like this dead sleep, and a cockroach crawled over my foot. I opened my eyes, and basically all the suffering was gone. All the suffering was gone. And the valuable thing was that I saw, when I believed my thoughts, I suffered. But when I didn't believe my thoughts, I didn't suffer. And the way that I saw that is when I opened my eyes, the ego did not have opportunity to fill that space. And everything was present. And in that, I began to laugh. It was like I got the joke. I got it. And I saw, what I was thinking and believing was the cause of my suffering. And then the work was born on the floor in that moment. It was how all suffering is created, and it's true for every human being. We believe our thoughts, we suffer. We question them, we don't suffer. So some great minds said an unquestioned life is not worth living, and that's certainly my experience too.
That's incredible that you were able to birth a whole new way of thinking in that moment. And I wonder, what were those thoughts that you were believing at that time? Where were they coming from? Was it family? Was it parenting? Was it relationships? What were those negative thoughts?
It was from me. It was, there's something terrible is going to happen. There's something wrong with me. The world doesn't really care about me. No one cares about anyone. He doesn't care about me. I can't do it. All these, and I didn't even know what the it was most of the time that I couldn't do. But it was just this crazy, and the effect of believing those thoughts is depression and guilt and insanity. And from that moment on the floor, anytime my head, would say thoughts, would hit, is it true? It would just, the thoughts would happen like something terrible is going to happen, and it would evaporate. It couldn't continue after that moment on the floor. And so when people began to ask me, which was really strange and agoraphobic, being asked, anyone being in touch with an agoraphobic is pretty rare. But people began to just call me from all over the world. It was just, just one by one by one, and ask what, could they come live with me? The strangest questions. And I didn't know if it was the water I was drinking, the food I was eating. Because everything had so radically flipped, just like from one polarity to the other. But then when they'd ask what happened, and they would say, life isn't worth living. And it would blow my mind because I knew they knew better. I knew they knew better because once you know your own true nature, you see it in everyone and everything. Mm. And so I began to show them the experience on the floor. I asked the questions like something terrible is going to happen. Like they would say something terrible is going to happen, and I would say, is it true? And that puts them on the floor, not literally, but it puts them into that experience on the floor. And then how do you react? What happens when you believe the thought? And then they become aware of, in that meditative state, how do I react when I believe the thought? Of seeing those images of the past, not now, and the future, not now. Mm. And it moves their focus and attention from presence, where the given life is, the blessed life is right here, right now, without being so convoluted, or we're not confused when we are present. And whatever we need to do can be done there, and everything to do it with is also present. And then that third question, how do you react when you believe the thought? They become aware of the images and what they believe onto the images. So we have the image of, let's say, this morning at breakfast, and we see that image of that past, and then we believe words onto that image, and then the imagined life is created. And really, that is all of life that most humans understand. It keeps us like in the not now, in the not now, that past, future, that is not. And the movie is so, it's so all encompassing. We really, like, I see me at breakfast, but I really believe that's me, even though I can't take it out of my head. I can't touch it. I can't move it. I can't throw it. That's not I. So that me of the past, me of the future. Now there's 3 of me. And now all of these past, there are a million of me. There are a million of me in the future. It's like, who am I? And if we just, who would it be? That 4th question, who would I be without the thought something terrible is going to happen, for example, dealing with that one. And it just drops the image of the past where something terrible happened, the future where it's going to happen. It dissolves the nothing, all those I's, and the answer to who am I? It's present, just present. And then, people are taking this on as a practice. And as they do take it on as a practice, they see these horrors of the guilt of the past and the horrors of the future, and they are awake to not I, not I, not I, not I, all the not now. So they are with the one they love, the beloved themselves, awake to the given, the love of life, not life imagined, but the love of Jay, you know of all people what it's like to see. It's, oh my goodness, I could add stuff to it. Like, it sparkles, it shines, and it's none of those things, and it's all of those things, and it's humbling. It's being gifted. And so I understand why people want to be in the now, but how? And of course, I was shown this one way, and there are so many beautiful ways. It doesn't have to be just this or just that. There's something for everyone. And what I love about inquiry is it works with everything. It doesn't oppose anything. It doesn't even say, answer me. It just is like given freely. And so after all these years, more than 3 decades, it still excites me just to answer your question and feel like I'm taking over your entire program.
Beautiful. I love listening. It's beautiful. And what I'm hearing so wonderfully is when these questions, and you use the word inquiry, it's like when these questions are these genuine, sincere requests and questions, as opposed to these demands. And I feel often our questions in the world are demands to the universe, as opposed to these inquiries. And so we often ask questions. We're always asking questions, even with our thoughts, but often we're asking demanding questions like, why is this happening to me? When is this going to end? Why is this not stopping? And those are not really questions. They're rhetorical demands. And I find that when we ask questions like that, we know that, let alone the universe, even our friends would not respond to questions like that, because they're not really looking for an answer. And so I love the way you're reminding us. Now tell us, Katie, if someone right now, and you have shown us the work, you've told us about the questioning process, but if someone right now is, and especially right now, is going through anxiety, depression, suffering from mental health, they are looking at the scenario of the world and they're having those thoughts.
Yes.
And one would say they're very valid to have those thoughts, especially right now. And there have been
Yes.
multiple times in history. What would be the first thing you would say that they need to do in order to realize that there is hope for them? Because I think for so many people, they get to this point where they believe their thoughts so much that they feel there is no hope left.
Yeah.
And there's no chance, just like you were saying you felt.
I would say first, get in touch with your emotions, because they're the closest thing to you.
And what blocks us from our emotions? What stops us from them?
The truth sets me free. And that's my experience, unless it's drugs, alcohol. We do our best. And so I tried all of that, and I did it well, and it took me literally to the floor. But I would say get in touch with your emotions. Like when we're angry, for example, we feel it and we tense. And so to first get in touch with your emotions, in other words, notice. And then move up to your head and notice, because those emotions let you know, remind you of what you're thinking and believing is the cause of your suffering. And so then you can identify the thoughts you're thinking, and then don't trust them to stay. Move them from your head to paper. And then sit with those 4 questions with like, he doesn't care about me. That belongs on paper. And then you question it using these 4 questions and turnarounds. And the turnarounds are just finding opposites. So it's always free. Anything I have of value, if I have something of value, it's always free on byronkatie.com or thework.com. And how to do this is there, because if someone had told me, when you feel your emotions, just get in touch with them. And what are you thinking and believing? I would say, give me a cigarette.
Yeah.
in the days we used to smoke.
Yeah, and I love that about getting it down into paper. I think it's so important to get out of our heads. And, when things are in your mind, you think that they're there, but they can get convoluted and polluted. And so I often say to people as well, which I love, is getting out into paper is almost sometimes voice noting and recording your own voice and hearing it. It puts you in such an observer mindset when you hear yourself, and when you can hear yourself, you can hear what you're really trying to say and what you're really trying to communicate. And it's almost like hearing in between the lines for yourself. Same with writing it down, when you can read out to yourself. I think those are such powerful tools. I love it when I've heard you say that to judge people is to keep them separate from me. And I like that so much, especially right now, because I feel that judgment is what creates so much divide. And sometimes even what I find is more subtle is judgment of judgment. So we think that we are being right by judging, but actually we're simply judging someone for their judgment, if you know what I mean.
It keeps us separate. It is the fence I put between you and me. And I feel that separation. So I'm just going to come at you, whether you like it or not, until you understand me. But it's my fence I have put up between us.
Yes.
The cause of all suffering is what we're thinking and believing. So what you and I are talking about right now is the cause of suffering. It's what we're thinking and believing. That is attachment. The Buddha talks about attachments. Religions talk about attachment and there's something else, but we'll say attachment. And what we're talking about is the most important thing. To identify what we're thinking and believing is to identify the cause of suffering. And to question it is to set ourselves free. And to question it really is a meditative process. For example, if I think this is a terrible place, this world is a terrible place, my mind will show me all the images of the past that prove it and the future that says it's going to happen again. It proves it. What we're thinking and believing is proven within us, but it's, as we say nowadays, fake news. It's fake news, and because it's not real, it's imaging, it's dreaming, it's the dream world. So to ask, is it true, begins to wake us up to reality. And the valid answer, when we ask, is it true, to meditate, to get still in that, and not to ask the question of ourselves if we don't really want what we're asking to meet the question. And what we're asking to meet the question is that don't know world that is so unavailable to us when we are living as believers in these terrifying, depressive states of mind.
See, here's the thing. We can't move what we don't measure. We can't improve what we don't measure. We hear this all the time. It's really, really well known. And this is why I often think so many businesses, so many small businesses and companies struggle, especially in this new economy that we're now entering. You need every advantage to succeed, and you need to be able to measure everything all in one place. With NetSuite, you'll have visibility and control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Everything you need all in one place. By focusing on the above, this allows you to measure and improve your business easily. Now, whether you're doing $1 million or whether you're doing hundreds of millions in sales, NetSuite lets you manage every penny with precision. You'll have the agility to compete with anyone, work from anywhere, and run your whole company right from your phone. Like literally, it's crazy. There are over 20,000 companies who trust NetSuite to make it happen. NetSuite surveyed hundreds of business leaders and assembled a playbook of the top strategies they're using as America reopens for business. After I reviewed it, I was blown away by how useful it was to me and my team. You can receive your free guide, 7 Actions Businesses Need to Take Now, and schedule your free product tour at netsuite.com/J. Get your free guide and schedule your free product tour right now at netsuite.com/J. That's netsuite.com/J. You all know I'm fascinated with human behavior. Something I reflect on is our motivation or lack of it to do things. We're always either running away from pain or running towards pleasure. Pain can be something small, like putting all your laundry away, right? We've all been there. Here's a topic that many people tend to run away from, but tackling it early is actually your best option. Shopping for life insurance can raise a lot of questions and concerns. How much coverage do you need? Which insurance company should I trust? How much should it even cost? Do we really even need it? And at a time when it's more important than ever to have life insurance, the pandemic is making it a little more complicated to shop for it. But today's sponsor, Policy Genius, can help. Now, Policy Genius are a life insurance marketplace backed by a team of experts. Policy Genius is keeping track of all the changes in the market so you don't have to. They're trustworthy and fully qualified. They'll find you the right amount of coverage at the best possible price without the headache, right? The most important part. This means they can get you covered quickly and for the best price. What more could you ask for, right? Like, it's a great place to get started. This is what Policy Genius's process actually looks like. They take all of these quotes, they compare them from the top life insurance companies all in one place. In a few minutes, you can compare quotes from the top insurers to find your best price. Most people save about $1,500 or more a year by using Policy Genius to compare life insurance policies. Once you apply, they handle all the paperwork for free. So if you hit any speed bumps during the application process, they'll be there to take care of everything. Again, life insurance can be a scary topic and overwhelming. That's why their mission is to help people get insurance right by making it easy for them to understand their options, compare quotes, and buy a policy all in one place. They've helped over 30 million people shop for life insurance. You will not go wrong with them. So if you need life insurance but you're not sure where to start, head to policygenius.com. Policy Genius will find you the best rate and handle the process completely. They'll get you and your family protected and hopefully give you one less thing to worry about right now. Try it today. Go to policygenius.com. What are some beliefs that we should have then? Because if we're believing so many of the wrong thoughts, what are some of the thoughts that we should believe? Is there a
Well, words become like matches for our true nature, and or a match to the heart. Like if I think there's something wrong with him or her or them, you know, a society, for example, but there's something wrong with him, then my mind immediately shows me all the proof. But it's not proof, it's a state of mind. And then it shows me the future where he's going to do that to me too. You know, that's going to happen here too. And so I don't see that him I'm with. I see who I imagine him to be. So that's who I'm talking to. So I like to say no two people have ever met. We're crazy. We are talking to a phantom and we're so convinced. And so, you know, this work wakes me up to reality. And I forgot your question actually slipped.
No, that was beautiful. My question was, because you're saying that we sometimes believe our negative thoughts and that's what creates our suffering.
Oh, the replacement.
Are there any thoughts that we should have? Are there any beliefs we should have?
Well, let's say I think there's something wrong with him. And is it true? Can I really know this? How do I react when I believe the thought? I see the past, future, imaging and all of that. Who would I be without it? And I'm just meditating, dropping my story, dropping that identification on him, taking all the Post-its I believed onto him, and I just see him. And I see him. And without what I'm believing onto him. And then when I turn it around, there's something wrong with him. Turned around, there's something wrong with me. And I'm not exchanging one belief for another. I am going to try it on as though it were a shoe I tried on and I fell in love with in a shoe store. I don't know if it fits. I've got to try it on. So there's something wrong with him. Turn around, there's something wrong with me. I'm going to try it on. Now in that situation with him, there's something wrong with me. Okay, my attitude, I was experiencing a little fear, a lot of separation. There's something wrong with me. I see him differently when I dropped my story on him. That was mine. There's something wrong with me. So I am meditating in a moment in time. And I'm present. And if I see something unacceptable in my world, I look to me. I don't look to other people. They cannot give me the answers that I'm seeking. And often they say things that enlighten me, that wake me up, that change my life. But I'm the one that heard them. And as I'm in a hurry, I was in a hurry. And I was granted a gift, and it came freely. And now that belongs to everyone. And no one has to be open to it either, but I just know my job like you know yours. We know our jobs. We
Absolutely.
give the gift and it grows in us each time we do.
And what about so many people I hear today who are reconnecting with some of the pains in their childhood that they may not have even been aware of? So when we look at childhood trauma, we look at abandonment issues, we look at the feeling of not feeling nurtured, like we look at the feeling of being rejected or neglected as a child, and we carry this and
yes,
it grows
we do.
and it's there, and we
yes,
sometimes we don't become aware of it until we're much older.
So true.
How does someone go about processing that? Because I feel that also reflects in the type of partners we choose for ourselves. It reflects in our communication with our friends and our bosses and our colleagues. It creates so many issues.
It affects everything. It affects our identification. The people I work with, so that they understand how to work with it themselves, is I ask them to go into the trauma, get into the center of that trauma where it was the most painful, and identify, meditating in that situation. And that's asking a lot, but to go back into that situation and identify what they were thinking and believing then. Because what they were thinking and believing then was the cause of the trauma. No matter what that person did to me, what I was thinking and believing was the cause of my trauma. So I identify those thoughts, I write them down, and I have a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet on my website. People can download or work it there. And it's a form with 6 questions that allow us to recall what we were thinking and believing then.
Right.
So that supports it. And then there are their thoughts, what they were thinking and believing then, the cause of the trauma. And then they question those thoughts. And they question it from a meditative state, from that situation, from the center of that terrible situation. Doesn't mean the other person isn't guilty, but it's still, what still remains is what I was thinking and believing is the cause of my suffering. So I question those thoughts, and the trauma breaks, and I am enlightened to the cause of my suffering. And that is what I was thinking and believing. And then I have a lot to do. I have a lot to do after that. It's another worksheet and another worksheet. And, my mother, for example, said one day, let's hypothetically say, she said, Byron Kathleen, and I'm just a little kid. I'm just goo goo gaga. I'm just, and it doesn't mean anything to me. And she says, Byron Kathleen, and it means nothing to me. And then let's say 3 weeks go by, and she says, Byron Kathleen. And then one of my siblings say, Byron Kathleen. And my mother says it, my father says it. And then one day my mother says it, and I believe. I believe. And prior to that, I was not.
Wow.
The moment I believed, I am. And the same with, I'm a female. I'm this age. I have this color hair. I have this color skin.